I am the Ink Jedi. I'm here with these two guys. Go ahead and introduce yourselves.
What's up, Canadian Geek here?
What's up, Mike? Strange Spaceman. How's it going,
Good, good,
gentlemen?
Yo,
guys.
yo.
I think we should continue this conversation. So before we went live, we were having this conversation. We were talking about how we heard something that if Midtown Comics were to get rid of, for example, were to close tomorrow, that it will actually put a dent in the market because of all the books that they actually order. I myself have seen them carry dozens of 1 in 100 books or 1 in 500 books in their stores, in all three of their stores. So we were just talking about like, what if they close tomorrow? Would that affect the market at all? And you guys had some really interesting points as well.
Yeah, like I'll start off real quick. Like I said before the show, I don't think it would be that big of a hit. A few months, sure, and I think they some other businesses would have to like rework how they do things. But I think as soon as they fall in a few months, some other store or a few other stores would step up and become kind of like the new Midtown. You know, Liz, I've never been there. I heard it's good, but yeah, they got too many variants. They're like we were talking before, their prices are just too high. Years like 2 or 3 years later, they're still trying to get $30-$40 for these things that you can get on eBay for 10 or 15. So
Right.
I don't know. At least you've been there one, I haven't, but I don't think it would be that big of a hit long term if Midtown closed their doors tomorrow.
Right. Mike?
I mean, I'm sure that you'd see some ripples, but I think what people were saying was that it would produce like these companies would stop printing comic books if they lost this kind of business, and I just don't think that's true.
No.
I think what you're gonna lose is like those incentive variants, like Chad said, or it's like 1 in 100s aren't going to exist if the people who are buying the majority of those books are gone. But I don't. I mean, it might be good. Who knows? I can't really speak to it, but I couldn't imagine that the entire market would crumble just because one, be it as it may, the biggest probably store we know. I just don't see it crumbling.
Yeah, I don't see Midtown closing at all, or ever even being close to it. They have this warehouse in Long Island, and they do their warehouse sales like a couple of times a year. And it's just like
Yeah.
all crap that didn't sell. People line up the night before to go into this thing. I mean, it's really pretty cool. But I'm sure that's what they do. Whatever they don't sell, they're just ship it right off to the warehouse, and they figure someone else will buy it later.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
It all depends on the profit on what they're looking to get for it, I think.
Right, right. But yeah. So
And I mean, I think the reality is they would go to like a strictly web-based storefront and shut down the actual physical stores before they ever like actually just shut down.
right. No, I
Yeah,
definitely
for sure. Like
get that.
I could see variants though taking like again I'm not a businessman, but if I'm in the if I'm in the business of making money, you're gonna sell more with lower variants. So instead of having a 1 in 500, make it a 1 in 250. Make the 1 in 200s the 1 in 100s. Like instead of hoping that all these people want it or you're gonna sell enough, why not just make more of them and have them less ratios? Then more people can afford them. And,
I agree.
And you look at IG Comics Store now, because I'm a Wolverine guy. They got all these variants coming up for Wolverine #1. They got a virgin black and white Jim Lee cover. It's 1 in 500. They got the black cover, which is 1 in 100. They'll sell out because they're a smaller store, so they have so much stock. But it's just like make those cool covers smaller ratio. You'll sell more of them, and you'll make
Right.
more money. It doesn't. It's not like it costs more. It doesn't cost Marvel more money to make that 1 in 500 cover than it does all the rest. So, just not flood the market, but just make them easier to get, and then you have more of them. But I talked to my owner, and I think one of the biggest problems. I talk to my local shop owner all the time, and I don't know if it's with DC, but I know it's with Marvel. is when they solicit every month or every 3 or 4 weeks, whatever it is, however it does, they're asking these comic shop owners, and I'm sure we have a few who know. They ask them, okay, what do you want? How many of these covers do you want? And they don't even get to see the art. So they're asking, what's up, Robert? They're asking for these store owners to say, hey, do you want this incentive cover? Do you want this variant? And they don't even show the cover art for it. So if I'm a shop owner and I'm going to spend $400 or $500 on these books, I need to know what they're going to look like.
And that's happening with a lot of I don't know that that's happening with any of the big dollar books, like the really high incentive ones.
Right.
But I know, like, even just like the DC B covers, like pretty much all of them, you don't know what they are for the most part until they come out. I don't know if that's changed recently, but like for the longest, you wouldn't see even in previews the images just wouldn't be there for like pretty much till they came out.
Right. Well, I don't know. Variants have always been a tricky game to get into. I mean, I know
a game. That's exactly what that is.
Yeah, you're always taking a gamble on a variant book. I'll tell you, when Secret Wars came out, I got almost every variant, and now they're just paperweight. So like, I just if I'm gonna spend $500 on a variant, I'd rather just spend it on something else. If that makes any sense.
Yeah, that puts you halfway to a pretty good statue.
Pretty much. Rob, you got your camera on? Hopefully. Hey, what's going on, Rob? Thanks for joining us, dude. Rob's stuck.
Rob's in that QVC
party.
James, the comic raider.
Comics on the edge.
There he is. We just gotta leave him up. It's going just. Hey, Toms, what's up, man? How's it going?
Hey.
Yo, Toms.
I was waiting until Chad took a break.
Okay, there you go. Oh man. Let's see. So yeah, what do you think about variants, Rob?
I don't know, man. I think depending on the artist, that's what kind of attracts me to them.
Yeah, I like Adam Hughes. I think I could fork over some cash for like his variants are pretty good. J. Scott Campbell, my wife likes him more than I do, but I'm not a huge fan of his work. But
when he really tries, his covers are pretty sweet.
Right.
But like it all depends. Like this one, I'll show you this because I got it for $7 a couple weeks ago. I'm just a Kirkman fan, so it's Deadpool versus Absolute Carnage or whatever. I don't know if can you guys see that now?
Yeah.
Okay, so that's the Virgin cover. That was like costing like $7. When that first came out, it was like a $25 book, or a $30 book, or depending, $40, $50, depending on what they had to get for it.
Right.
So it just depends. If it, most times you can tell, is it a book that's going to fly off the shelves and you can't find anymore, or is it just a book that's going to be expensive? If it's a book that's going to be expensive and you don't really need it, let it wait and the price will come down.
Right.
Most times.
That speaks though to it, like to switch gears, kind of like we were talking about Morbius, right? Like trailer dropped yesterday, and we'll get to like what people think about it. But the one thing that irks me, and it's just a peeve of mine, it's really stupid, but like when people put in the title like, first appearance of Morbius, movie coming, Sony or whatever the hell, it drives me nuts. Like, who are you selling this book to, bro? Like, if you follow comics at all, you'll know, like, yes, we know who Morbius is. Even me, like, I'm not familiar with the character, admittedly, but I know who he is, right? Like, we've all read Spider-Man, we all have seen the animated series, we all kind of know who he is. So when you write a description like that, who are you trying to get? Are you trying to get like, the ignorant comic book collector who doesn't know any better? Or are you trying to get like that speculator who's just like, oh, I gotta buy now and just raise the price incredibly high for this book? I mean, what do you
I think
guys
if anyone's posting a book that says movie coming or
I'll be right
uh,
back.
in production or whatever it may be, or like newly optioned. If you're putting those search terms, if those are your key search terms for like an eBay listing, then you're clearly trying to sell it at its hottest moment. I mean, anyone who's going to pick up a book, I don't know. I'm not. It's a tough market, but if people have that kind of money and want to drop money when something gets hot and they are introduced to someone, that's great. But yes, I think that market is very targeted to people who buy books when the movies come out and they learn about the character through that, which I think it still brings people to our hobby, so you can't hate on it.
Right.
It's just and I think that it's a way to sell a book. Like if you're trying to sell a book and the window for it being hot is limited, you write whatever you could write, you know, gorgeous hot blonde in there. I don't know, whatever. It doesn't matter.
Right. And I get it
I
too. You're trying to sell to make
yeah.
money and stuff like that. I mean, it's good too if
Can
you're
you
a
guys
seller.
hear me okay now? Because
No, you're
I
good,
was,
Rob.
dude, I
Yeah,
wasn't
you're
on my
good. Yeah.
network, so I was just like, what the fuck? And I get bad reception where I live, so I'm just like, oh man, let me switch on the Wi-Fi, so
No,
it
you're
should be good
good.
now.
You're good. Yeah, I mean, I don't mind. I can knock a hustle, but at the same time, like, I feel
I mean,
like let the market dictate the prices, and I'm fine with it. Like, so
Yeah.
like, make your money. You know what I mean?
That
But
that game's changed a lot though, man. The variant game. I mean, before I think it happened before DC started doing their double covers.
right,
The regular and variant, like you could just order as many variants, didn't matter. But before that time, everyone was going for the 1 in 100s and 1 in 50, 1 in 25s.
yeah,
Um, I think you kind of get that like uh, baseball mentality where baseball cards, it's like getting the rarest shit. You know what I mean? And when you see 1 in 25, you're just like, damn, like there's so many less than a regular copy.
right,
I'm an Adam Hughes fan, and it's like his variants don't even like when they come out. I don't chase after them because it's just like it's ridiculous, man. Like they drop so fast now that you just have to wait 1 or 2 weeks, and you'll get it for next to nothing.
right. You
yeah.
just have to be patient. Someone said it before. Javier said it. He said,
Yeah,
"Just be patient." And it's true. Like you just gotta wait. You know.
yeah. But then also sometimes like so now that we all know how DC plays the game, it's kind of interesting when they do release that 1 in 25 variant. It makes you think that there's something special to that book, just like
Mm.
the Crush book. There was a and B cover, and then there was a 1 in 25. Obviously, you know, for good reason because that
That's
introduced
the
a new
book to have.
character.
Yeah,
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 so
yeah.
that
That's
I
the
mean
book to
that's
have.
kind of
Yeah.
like a little hack or a way to know that book, just that book, not the variant only, but just something's gonna happen in that book. So you know,
Right. Sometimes you gotta wait it out, but sometimes you go where you got to because a variant could be $20 today and tomorrow be $100 for some reason. No one knows why. It's just how it is. To be fair, like I find myself not buying as many books from eBay as I used to. First of all, because sometimes the tax is ridiculous now. Like you have to
yeah,
pay
for
where I'm
sure,
at, you
for
have to
Mm,
pay
sure.
Texas is
taxes.
stupid.
So it'll take a book that's a
We're
hundred
like at
bucks and make it to 150.
9.25, I think, or 9.75
Damn.
or something. Where do you guys at?
I don't even know. I just know I went to buy a book and then I saw the taxes. I'm like, oh
Dude,
man.
that'll scare people away. I feel
Yeah.
sorry for people that buy off eBay constantly because this is like you're paying that extra money, and you're not like used to it.
I was just there recently. I found a really good deal on a book, and I got offer accepted, and I was stoked about the offer that I put in, and I was like, this, I totally lowballed, and then after all said and done, and the taxes were added and everything, I was like, fuck, I'm kind of like back
It's
to the
even.
place where I didn't want to be. Like,
Yeah.
and it's
What's the tax in Maine? Like 3% or something like that?
no, I'm in Vermont, by the way, but it's
They're all the fancy white people are.
yeah, we're all the fans. Yeah, right. I wish. I'm just joking. It's 7% is our retail tax, which adds. I mean that adds up quickly.
Right.
That adds up real
especially
quickly.
the books that you buy. Like,
Right. I mean, if you're
know?
buying a $500 book, don't expect to just pay 500 plus ship. You're gonna pay close to $600.
yeah, for sure.
Yeah, it's crazy. It is, and that's why
I'm not going on eBay buying fucking $3 books. You know what I mean? They're going to be books that are like up there.
Yeah,
But I think on the swing side of that, though, the other side is, I think you're also going to see soon enough. I'd say.
Did
probably
you
in
mute
summer.
Chad or what? I can't hear him.
Really? I hear him.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Well,
I think you're going to see on the
hey,
upside.
just leave it like that.
I'd say by summertime you'll probably see going the other way, whereas the people will start listing them lower because they're not selling them because the taxes are so high. People are like, okay, well, I can take a $20 or $30 hit on the book because sellers are gonna have to start compensating for that higher taxes now because people are gonna stop buying them.
What state isn't doing the tax? I know there's one.
well, I mean, there's no sales tax in the state of New Hampshire, so I would imagine. But I think you have to pay the seller's tax. I don't know what the exact formula is, but I think you have to pay the tax. I think in some regard it's you have to pay a balance between both, like what the seller and the buyer, because I mean the seller will get invoiced at the end of the month from eBay, and I don't know whether that's for taxes and fees and all that stuff as well. So there's I think both ends are paying taxes no matter how you look at it.
Yeah.
Which is the
you're probably
which is the
right.
real shitty part. Yeah, I don't really know how it works. I kind of backed off that whole thing once I started seeing all that. But it's just stupid.
Vegas is 8.825.
Jeez.
Chicago's
Jesus
10%.
Christ.
Damn.
10%.
So
But that's 10%
Minnesota,
for
Minnesota,
retail things.
they have an exception for anything under 10 grand where you're not gonna get taxed for it. So like we need a member in Minnesota, a couple.
For eBay, that's for eBay specifically?
eBay specific.
That's crazy.
Buying or selling?
Yeah, they're spoiled over there, man.
Anything under
nuts.
10
That's
grand.
crazy.
So unless you're buying like a Amazing Fantasy or shit like that.
Sales tax in Canada is only 13%. So 10% for one single state is nuts.
I thought you paid tax for the state where you were buying from, but I could be wrong. Yeah, I'm not sure
No,
how
that's
that
what
works either.
I think that's what it is. I think you're paying. I think the seller and the buyer are paying from the seller's state. I'm not sure about that, but because I think you're paying taxes no matter what the fuck you do.
Instagram selling.
But I mean,
pages are gonna
but back to like Chad's point, like if you have people now, all of a sudden there's sellers who have been doing this forever, and now they're adjusting for taxes. I mean, let's be honest. How many big books are changing hands at cons, and people are with cash money, and they're adjusting their prices for taxes. So
Right.
what does that do to the book? The in-person sale, does that make it even that much better now? Like that.
I prefer it. I'll be honest with you. Like,
Yeah,
I have enough comic shows in my area where
it.
I'm like, I'm good going to the show, going to the shop to buy whatever because I'm not gonna get hit with the tax as long as you're paying cash. Now, if you go to a show with a card, they're gonna be like, "Well, I gotta add the tax," and I'm like, "Well, learn."
Cash is
I
always
get that.
key.
Yeah, I certainly get that, but like, there's those books that like you may never see, and like if you're in a position to purchase them, and they you have a saved search on eBay, or you find a good auction that's running low, and it doesn't matter. It's that unknown of like, I hit this auction $100 below where this book should be, and then I'm paying $50 plus shipping on top of that. and now I'm fucked.
Yeah.
Yeah,
just
it's kind of like but like getting a book or getting a good deal on eBay, and then like you look at the shipping charges, and it's like $20 because it's from Canada.
Yeah.
It just evens out, you know.
Yeah.
Right. And it's not even the buyer's fault too. Like I get it. Just eBay all the time. I mean, it's not even eBay. I think it's like the courts. They're like, well,
The government.
that
Trying to get
government's
their
like, well,
base.
you gotta pay tax on this now too. I'm just like, well,
Yeah.
screw it. That's it. Local cons and
You'll
freaking
Death by
see
eBay seller
taxes.
pages.
in-person sales and Instagram sales pages are going to go through the roof.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's just the way to go until they start taxing shit on PayPal, right?
Oh, that's coming. Guarantee it. That's coming.
I don't think they could do that. I think that their whole thing is the whole friends and family and sending money between people that you know. I don't think that will ever go away.
Yeah, I hope not.
They'll
I
probably start
can't
taxing. I
imagine
guarantee they'll tax it when it hits a certain amount or a certain. They'll find some algorithm. You know they will. They'll find some way.
or they'll put a limit. Or they'll put a limit. Like it makes sense
Yeah.
that there's a limit. Like if you're sending your friend 10 grand over fucking PayPal, like you're a fucking great human being. Like
That'll raise
I
some
don't
flags
like.
for sure.
Yeah, right. I want that friend.
Yeah.
So I mean, sure, put a limit on it, right? You could put like a $10,000 limit or something like that on it, but I don't think PayPal doesn't give a fuck what you're doing. You're assuming all the liability and the risk.
Well,
Yeah,
I think
yeah, so
anything
they
over
don't give a
10
fuck.
grand anyway, they're gonna look at.
Yeah,
Because I know
yeah.
even like in New Jersey, New York, if I purchase 10 grand worth of stuff, I need to give ID, like social. I need to give my driver's license, and then there's a separate form you have to fill out. So like, if you're ever gonna buy a $10,000 book, pay 5 grand and then 5 grand after. Like that's just the way to do it, so you don't get.
Well, it depends too
flipped.
on how much. Like when I bought my Hulk last year, the 181, that unfortunately is no longer with me. I had to split up into like 6 different because PayPal Canada or whatever only say no. This is the max you can transfer. So I had to transfer over like 4 or 5 different payments.
Jeez.
Yeah.
And then the first 3 went through, and then the last 2 were like, "Okay, we got to hold this for a few seconds because you've never done this before, so we got to make sure everything's good."
Yeah, that's
Just red flag.
That's pretty. Yeah. eBay does the same thing pretty much. They hold your funds for as long as they pretty much damn well please. It's
Yeah.
stupid. Or until somebody leaves feedback, pretty much, or until you're trusted enough that. But so what else we got to talk about? I mean, now that we just talked about fucking all the shitty things going on.
Hey, on the plus, man, that Morbius trailer was pretty damn good. Not what I was expecting. I wasn't expecting that, but I did like the trailer. Again, I don't know much about the character or his backstory, just a little bit here and there. I'm very curious to see what they're going to be doing, especially with those little cameos that they had in there. It looks like he was in that same prison that they held Venom. So, what are you guys' thoughts?
Well, the Venom one though was on the West Coast, and then at the end. Now this isn't a spoiler because it's in the trailer.
Right.
Okay, I heard people. I heard some other people complain that I was saying stuff before because it was in the trailer. But at the end, we see Michael Keaton at the end of the trailer, who we would naturally assume is Adrian Toomes, aka the Vulture. Right. So I'm wondering is if that was the same prison. Are they on the West Coast because he got in trouble on the East Coast with where Spider-Man was. So.
Well, he was in New York, and then Venom was in San Francisco.
Yeah, so I'm wondering, did they transfer them all the way across the country, and then is this going to be like the new Sinister Six? Have they tried to redo it now, or they're taking out the Shocker maybe and putting in someone else? So it's cool because it looks like it by one of the pictures. It's been all around Instagram. The one picture they show where it says "murderer" in the trailer, that's a screenshot from one of the Sam Raimi from one of the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man movies. But then we see Michael Keaton, who's part of the MCU Spider-Man. So it'll be interesting to see where, and they said it's canon. So I'm wondering, will it be all the canon? Will it be in everywhere, or is it going to be, which universe is this going to be in? So
right, because at first people thought that someone doctored the footage.
Yeah,
they're like, oh, that's not real. And then when you saw the trailer, you're like, oh crap, that's actually really real. Because at first you're like, oh, that's the Sam Raimi Spider-Man. Someone said that's the the
PlayStation
Spider-Man from
4
the video game.
versions. Yeah.
Yeah. The funniest part is like when they were like from the studios that bought you Venom and Spider-Man Homecoming. I'm like,
Yeah,
you son of a bitch. You did it's like you guys are liars. Like
I mean,
you
that
funded
was like
it.
half the screen. Like when you watch that, half the screen just said, brought you Venom and Far From Home and Homecoming. And it's like,
Yeah.
Jesus, like, like, it seems like they clearly have something in their head. Like they want to bring all these universes together. And I don't think they can do it with Spider-Man, obviously, but doing it with the villains is actually pretty fucking smart. I think it's pretty cool to it would be interesting at least. Although I don't know how you have the Sinister Six without Spider-Man. So
Yeah.
that's all weird to me.
I think it'll happen. I think you're gonna have that movie come along. I don't think it's gonna happen yet. I think they're gonna
Yeah,
introduce a couple of villains first and then go from there.
Yeah. Too much money left on
yeah.
the table not to do it.
Yeah, if I'm Sony,
Yeah.
I'd be like, listen, Marvel, do whatever you want. Just give me a piece of that pie. Like,
Within 10 years, you'll have the Disney Sony merger, and they'll own the world, and
There
we'll
won't be a
all be
merger.
speaking.
That
We'll all be
movie's just
speaking
gonna,
English or Japanese. I'm just joking. It's just a joke. um, I mean, it's it's so fun to speculate about this shit because like we've never been in a place where all this shit has existed like this, and now that the big one has kind of ended, quote unquote, ended the Avengers stuff, it's just up in the air. I'm
mhm.
stoked to see other companies like succeeding finally. Like I don't think that Venom was the best movie in the world. I think it was okay. I think it was good enough. I don't think Morbius is going to be groundbreaking like Joker was, but I think it's probably going to be good enough. And I think down the line with like Blade and all this other stuff coming in, like they're just gonna have to start working together, and it's fun. Like if I get a half decent Morbius movie and it keeps bleeding together, and I see fucking Carnage and Venom and Morbius and Blade or whoever else all on the same fucking screen, I'm good.
Yeah.
I'll take
The
it,
funny
even if
part
it's
is, I forgot which Blade movie it was, but Morbius made an appearance at the end of the movie.
did he?
I don't remember that.
That
Yep.
must have been part
It
I
three.
don't remember that.
it was a cut scene. They
It must
never
have
aired it.
been.
It
Yeah.
was
Oh,
yeah. It never they didn't make it into the movie, but at the end it hinted that Morbius was going to be the next baddie,
Oh
but
shit.
never went anywhere. It's a deleted scene. I'll send you guys a link.
and then Wesley Snipes got arrested for tax evasion, and that was the end of that.
Like most of like most of these eBay sellers are going to be arrested for tax evasion.
Right.
That's it. Absolutely right.
Can you imagine people would have lost their shit even more if like at the end of that Morbius trailer, it was Marshall Ali's Blade who made the cameo.
Oh man, that would be
That's, I mean, yeah, that's great. That would
comic
be
restroom.
insane if that
Thank
happened.
you, bro.
Yeah,
Blade Trinity. It was at the end of Blade Trinity. He looks across the roof and there's like
Ah.
Morbius, but it never made it in.
Oh,
Yeah.
that'd be sick.
I mean, again, like all that stuff is like never anything like the what is it, the League of Monsters, or
Legion of
you know, where
Monsters.
you have Man
Legion of
Thing.
Monsters.
Yeah, Legion of Monsters. And I mean that stuff's all been like, it's super cool, it's awesome, and there's so many random people, random characters that could be brought into this that it's endless. And I think that we've learned by this point that the most obscure characters are definitely probably going to be the ones that are going to pop up. So to have a Morbius movie out of nowhere, and for it, like I said, for it to look halfway good, I'm stoked. I hope Sony does good things. I hope it ends up being another little franchise that we can look forward to.
I mean, it's smart too. If let's say Marvel and Sony were like, well, we're not gonna make any movies featuring the bad guy as the lead, but you can, and then we'll bring them together down the road. I mean, that'd be a great way to like, I guess after the success of the Joker, right, which did really well in the box office, um, nominated for a ton of
Yeah,
awards. Like, I could see
yeah,
people like delving into the minds of bad guys. And
Yeah, going a little
Well,
dark.
like,
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, if they kept the rated R stuff on that side of the fence, and did continue to do what they do with the Avengers and everything else that they're building, whoever else, the Fantastic Four or whatever, that's not. I mean, that satisfies both, and then you can have the crossovers when you want to, because we know it's possible because they're doing it with Spider-Man.
mhm.
So that alone, right there, like you do your movies with with the baddies, we'll do what we're doing, and every couple years it'll intersect. That's
Yeah,
pretty damn cool.
I think they're going to be doing that a lot too. Because if you look at it, they talked about I forget what Disney one. I don't know if it was Ryan Reynolds or one of the Disney people. But to go to your point of you guys do do what you want, is they've already said that like Daredevil or not Daredevil, Deadpool in his own title, just the Deadpool movie, Deadpool 3 or whatever, he's still going to be gory and swearing and like way over the top rated R. But when Deadpool is in a Marvel movie or is in like a Spider-Man movie, he'll be PG-13.
Right.
They'll dumb him down. So I think you're going to start seeing that. They're going to start saying, okay, well, let's take these more obscure, a little more gory, like a little darker characters and see how they do in their own movies. And can we like Morbius? I guarantee we'll see him if it's a hit and they don't do something stupid. You're going to see Morbius versus Blade or Morbius versus whoever. Like we're going to see that character in MCU movies if it's a hit. It just
Yeah,
might not be the same
I
one
think so too.
that we've seen. Like we'll see Wolverine against the Avengers. We will. We just won't see the dark version like Logan was, but we'll still see that in its own title. So the more that these smaller movies or these I don't want to say secondary characters because Joker isn't a secondary character, but the way the movie was done wasn't your typical superhero movie. The more of those kind of movies that are made that are good will only bring up more things for them to do to cross over and add and join up and so yeah, I think Morbius looks cool, and if it's half as good as it looks, then it opens up a whole world of possibilities for these other second tier kind of bad guys to show a
Right.
darker side.
I could dig that. Julio said, what do you guys think of Leto being Morbius?
I think Jared Leto is an amazing actor. Um, and I think that short of maybe this Joker role, I've fucking loved him in every movie he's ever been in. So um, I think he looked great. He definitely fits the part in regard to playing what's the guy's name? Michael.
Michael
Help me out
Morbius.
there, Robert. What's that?
Isn't his name Michael Morbius?
My, is his last name Morbius? Yeah, that makes sense. Michael Morbius. Yeah. Um, I think it looked great. Yeah, and I think I was stoked with that last little scene where he looked back and you saw him full vampire face. It was good. Yeah, it looked great.
I dig it. I like him. I
Yeah,
think he's gonna do great. Uh,
yeah, he's a good
he's a
actor.
good actor, and he gets a lot of shit for the Joker stuff, but I think that whole movie wasn't good at all. So
No. And I
yeah,
think he was able to
Agreed.
spread his wings in this movie. Nobody's done this part before, and I don't think expectations were crazy high. So they were able to, do what you want. Like play the character how you think he should be played while keeping it, with the comics. But I think that's why that's why I think it looks cool because I'm not comparing it to anything else. So I'll just be happy if
Yeah,
it's good. Okay, cool. And then the pressure will be on the next person in 10 or whatever years if they say, okay, let's do another Morbius. That person's gonna have the pressure if Leto does a really good job.
well, and I think there's a good point in that too, where like when you have these second tier or even C rate, whether they're villains or heroes, it doesn't matter. But when you have these people where like even the source material is somewhat kind of limited, I mean, or it's, I mean, how many Morbius like grand stories are out there? Beyond a 5 or 10 issue arc, probably only a fucking a handful. And then like, it's not like the Joker where his story's been retold 15, 30 times. So it's almost easier to take someone like this and just say, like do whatever you want, like you said, because um, there's more wiggle room to kind of create the character for the actual actor. as
Yeah,
opposed
they
to
don't
when
even
you're like,
have to like put them in like a comic storyline or anything. They could just do whatever they want
Yeah.
yeah,
because
exactly.
there's
And I mean,
not that much content. I mean, there's stuff out there, but not as
yeah.
much as a normal superhero or anything like that.
Yeah, it'd be cool to see like the live action Garfield movie. It'd be cool if they did one property I could see them trying to see, because it's filled with a few good characters that people know, is Night Stalkers. Because that's Blade, Hannibal King, who was played by Ryan Reynolds in Blade Trinity, Morbius, and I think one other character. So you could do it if it's well received. If Blade gets well received, that's a movie I can see them doing on the darker, more supernatural kind of demony side of things. That I think would be really cool, because it's never been done before.
Yeah.
So you can kind of do whatever you want.
I agree. Well, now is not the time to buy the book. By the way, just wait.
No.
How many of you guys have that book?
I think I have a true believer.
101.
I know
Yeah,
Trevor has
do any of you
a
have
pretty
one?
high grade one. I saw.
Yeah, Trevor's got a 9.0.
Yeah.
That's insane.
So
Are you talking about
an
an ASM 101? Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I don't have that book.
Suns.
Midnight.
That's actually my first like high dollar convention book I ever bought.
Oh yeah.
I got it for $60.
Damn.
Mm.
Yeah, that shit.
I know.
How long ago was that? You
I
remember?
know. Like 3 years ago.
Damn.
Maybe
See, not
4.
even that long ago, dude. It's crazy how the market.
I actually got that with a first Howard the Duck, the Fear and the whatever.
Yes, you.
19,
Adventure to Fear.
No, not you, Trevor.
Yeah, Adventures into Fear. I paid 60 each for those.
Damn.
So
That's a fucking solid
pays off.
pickup, man.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
It pays
Such a
off
good
to
book.
go at the last day, you know.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Time to press and clean it, and then send it to CGC and flip
Sell it for
Come on.
10 grand on eBay.
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
you know
send
that,
it out to PGX.
but you know that's just one of those books for me that has like like a special place in my heart. I mean, it's
Yeah.
when I got it, it wasn't really anything, you know. It wasn't like a crazy book or anything like that. And all of a sudden now everybody wants it. Like you go on Instagram and people are showing it off, and it's just like,
Yeah.
I mean,
It's crazy how much movies are driving the market. It's so crazy, man.
But you know, it's crazy because like 2 years ago, those Morbius books were hitting like pretty high without even any of the hype. So it was just one of those books that like Spider-Man collectors wanted, because it was like one of those characters, and it's just like, I need that for my collection. Now it's like, everybody wants it now, and they're so expensive.
No, I agree. I think those books. I think you have those collectors who, who talk to each other, and everyone maybe starts buying the same kind of book or gets into the same thing, and that kind of happens. And I think you also have, 2 years ago, even people were already specking Morbius. I think people were
for a
specking a
while.
lot of this stuff, so
I mean,
I think
there are people that
specu-
collect what other people collect. I mean, they just kind of follow that stream,
right.
and you're gonna pay more for it, but
Yeah, because when you go
whatever.
on eBay and just look at like glass sold or whatever for comics, you start seeing trends of like books that
Yeah,
are
for
moving.
sure.
And you're like, why? And then come to find out,
Yeah,
there's a movie or a show or announcement coming.
Yeah. It's been
or
optioned.
Comic Tom
It's
says
been
something
optioned.
about it.
Yeah.
Like Southern Bastards was optioned like 4 years ago, and it still hasn't even been in production yet.
Dude, there hasn't been a new issue in like 4 years.
2 years. I got
Southern.
I know this, but yeah, people like, just because something's been optioned, people doesn't mean anything. There's been thousands of things optioned that sit on the shelf and never get.
Well, yeah, that's what people don't understand is
Yeah.
that these movie companies are buying the rights for the story, and they just kind of sit in the back burner.
And the thing is,
Yeah.
Like people think that just because it's sold that they're gonna do something with it. No, they just kind of want that back stock of stories that they can bring out later on, if possible.
Yeah. And a lot of it too is studios optioning it because they don't want another studio to get it.
Well, I mean that's
yeah.
let's be honest. Like if I'm putting out like a vampire movie, I'm gonna buy up the rights to any other vampire Marvel character that exists because I don't want Sony doing it, or I don't
Right.
know. Like yeah, it just makes sense. Or like if you see vampire movies pop off, then you might start looking for the DC equivalent and start who knows? I mean, there's a million different reasons. But to think that anything is going to come just because a book was rights were bought or it was optioned
Yeah,
Like-
is
people are quick to jump on that bandwagon.
modern.
That's-
Yeah,
that's-
for sure.
You see that everywhere now. Modern Key, first appearance of this crazy new character. Like, can anybody here tell me in the last 10 years, other than I can't think of one. Give me in the last 10 years, give me a key character that is books are going for hundreds. I can't name one. Every other week you see a key character, first appearance. Like
you're talking
think-
about
Yeah,
new character, new
Yeah, modern
Miles
key
Morales, yeah.
characters are nothing, dude.
What's
Like,
up,
that's-
Comic
yeah,
Man
no.
Andy?
Yeah. You see
I mean,
all
it
the
gets a little
time.
ridiculous with like cameo appearance of Hellboy on a poster. Like, come on, guys.
that was
Listen, I
insane.
think
That you're really reaching, dude. Like at this
Yeah, for
point,
sure.
like that's not what that is.
yeah.
I
Like,
think if you're
stop it.
talking about like in the past 10 years, like there are some characters with some staying power that I think that really that I think are gonna continue to get bigger and bigger. Like Miles Morales is a perfect example. I mean, that he's just first of all, he's an awesome character. He's
Mhm.
created by one of the most brilliant, writers of the past 10 years. And he was he was like one of the first recreations of a major character that really existed, especially when they started crossing like the whole thing of like crossing racial lines and crossing gender lines and changing the characters. He was really what started all that. So I think in him and Spider-Gwen and maybe a few others, although I might not like to admit it, I think you're going to have some staying power with those. But if you're talking about like, right, but if you're talking about like whoever the new Nova is, Sam, whatever, like those guys those aren't going to last. Like
The
those
third
are
Nova.
always, the third Nova,
First appearance of fifth Nova in cameo.
Well,
on the
like,
subway train.
I guess
poster.
a good example
In the
would
winter.
be I guess a good example would be like Silk. That
Right.
character. I mean, every year you hear something about it, and it just skyrockets, and then it gets brought back down, and then skyrockets, and then we're at the point where we haven't really seen anything of her, but yet like it's gonna happen, but right now people aren't after that book because nobody's talking about her, but we know that something will happen.
Sam Alexander.
And it's like the people that are stockpiling those books, they're going to benefit because they're just going to sell their stockpile to all the people that ride the hype train and benefit off of it.
Yeah.
But because nobody's talking about it, nobody really cares. Like the variant, dude. Like that used to be like when they got hot, it was like $80. Then it died down, and then it got hot again, and it was $100. And then it died back down, and now it's like $150 or something. I don't even know how much it goes for right now. But
Mike Zombie said X23.
Yeah. That's sure. I'd say X-23 is probably the first real character with staying power of modern books. Absolutely, sure.
I mean, if you give a character a good damn story,
Yeah, see, that's
that's the key. I mean, Miles Morales you mentioned and X23, they have really good stories.
Yeah, absolutely.
But they
I
have
agree.
good origin stories, but like,
And they're also tied to really big characters too, so that makes it a little bit easier too, I would imagine.
yeah, but like you look at X-23, like I like I actually do. I came around. I didn't like her at first. I hated what they were doing just to do it. Let's do something different. But if it's written well, they'll have staying power. But even X-23, her series is horrible. It's horrible.
Oh yeah,
like, pitching out artists. The writing sucks. It's one of the worst written books on the market. but it's a good character people like, so they'll have staying power as long as they can do something good with it. But and I didn't mention her because I thought she was older than 10 years. So, but
She probably is.
I thought she was 2010, 2009, but
Probably.
I could be wrong. But yeah, it's got to be good. Like Cosmic Ghost Rider, meh, who cares? Like it's too.
I mean, a lot of people care about Cosmic Ghost Rider, but it's just whether or not he's going to be relative 5 years from now. You know,
Exactly.
Right.
I don't think he will be.
I don't know, man.
Depends
Like,
who's
I
writing
know.
him. To be honest with you, if you can write a good story,
Yeah,
Let's
it's
take
all
him on.
He'll still be around. I just don't think you're going to have like. I mean, like Robert said, like are these books 10 years from now? Like, are they going to be worth hundreds and hundreds of dollars? Like,
Yeah.
no, I don't think they are. I think they'll be right around where they are right now, which is still a couple $100, but
Like, even books like New Mutants
yeah, who
98
knows?
have gone down the last couple of years.
it's taking a
And-
dip for sure.
Yeah, well, everything does.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
But like a big dip though, right now, like before a couple of years ago, even at 9.6, you were looking at almost $1,000. Now ever I've been looking, 9.6 is like $400 or $500. 9.8 is like $1,000. So even those lower grades, are starting to take hits because it's just oversaturation, too much of it.
What was it? What was that before? Like 1,200 for a 9.8?
Yeah, like even the 9.8s were higher, they're coming down.
Yeah.
But I mean, even the lower grades,
But
you know,
I think people are just kind of like, they've had the book for so long that it's just like, all right, let's just get rid of this, But I do think that Deadpool is a character that's like, I mean, you just kind of need to hold on to, in my
Oh, for
opinion,
sure.
because
I also think the way people have been collecting has changed too.
yeah,
like,
for sure.
When I go to shows or just my shop, I see a lot more people digging for. I was talking to Mike about this, like, Silver Age or Bronze Age or, books in that category where, you have the older characters and things like that. I feel like.
By the way, where is Mike, anyways? I thought he was going to be on this show. Oh shit! I didn't recognize you. What's up, dude?
The shave.
Oh, I know. What's up? I know. I shaved.
Comic Andy said Saga. Then Saga's pricey book too.
Yeah,
100%.
I mean, outside of Walking Dead, what do you really have now? I mean, there's not much. I mean, all the big Saga.
Yeah, because
there's
of
really
the
not much
story,
else.
right? I mean,
Yeah.
And it's fair to say too, like a lot of characters that are in movies, there's certain books that just don't jump at all. I remember when they announced Ghost as the villain for Ant-Man and the Wasp. That book's still like $10. Yeah, it's easy to get. First Hank Pym. I mean, the first
little 3-part
Scott
Iron
Lang.
Man.
It's not too expensive at all either. So
No.
you do see books that just stay where they're at because people aren't interested in buying them.
yeah,
That's true.
Batman
With the
Wasp.
indie books, it just gets hard because there's not as much. Like people can't recognize it as much. Like Rick Grimes is just a phenomenon. The fact that people on the street know, if you say that name, they know. Like it's like when you say Peter Parker. I mean, not quite as close. I mean, obviously Spider-Man's way bigger than The Walking Dead, but I wouldn't be surprised if it's pretty fucking close.
Right.
I don't think
Yeah.
you're going to get that with things like Saga or a lot of the other things. Now, in regard to like stories of the decade, sure, I'm Saga absolutely is up there. But I think we're just talking. If we're talking individual characters, indie doesn't really have much. It's hard,
Well, yeah, I was watching a YouTube video the other day, and they were actually auctioning off "Why the Last Man #1," and a lot of people didn't know what it was. And somebody wrote in the comments, "Oh, that's the it's like the modern day independent Grail," and I'm just like, "What?" Like, I thought Saga was.
Funny
Yeah.
thing is,
You
too,
know?
that book was optioned too.
Oh yeah, I mean they're doing something with "Why the Last Man," but I don't really necessarily think that it's a modern day independent Grail because a lot of people don't even know about it.
Right.
You know?
Right.
No, yeah.
This
I think I think with a lot of the indie stuff, like The Boys or any of these, or that are coming out, like people, it comes out and it's like, oh, The Boys, what is that? Oh, it's a comic book, and then they realize, you know what I mean? Where like when you see that like that new trailer come out and Marvel comes across, like people know right away, oh, this is a new comic book movie. Like, I think there's a difference between like between the indie stuff where like people find out after they watch those shows that it's a comic book, where like if it's Marvel DC, they know going into it it's a comic book movie. And that's why like Why the Last Man will never have staying power the way anything else will.
No.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
And someone forget who just
Yeah, Invincible's a good one. I mean,
yeah.
you know, if they ever release that one,
If it's good though,
Aren't they supposed to do a cartoon?
I hope not. I hope it's like a movie, a live
No, I think
action
it's
movie.
supposed to be animated. Yeah.
What? They're supposed to be animated.
I forget who we just.
They better throw some turtles in there or something then.
Yeah. I forget who it was. Someone had scrolled across. The big guy with the beard had asked about Walking Dead #1. I think that book's going to go down big in price because as the hype goes lower and lower and lower, people who bought that book and want to get rid of it are going to have to sell it for cheaper and cheaper and cheaper. And the market.
Oh, it's already going down.
Yeah.
But the people that
It's going down.
wanted that book, that are real collectors of Walking Dead, this is a time for them to get it.
Yeah.
But that's a good thing though, because then it goes to the right people, right? In the end.
Absolutely.
Yep. So just wait.
It all depends on what you collect.
Months.
Like,
buy Morbius.
Yeah, like you don't collect what you don't like.
Don't tell me what to do, Juan.
Well, but I mean, there's the other side of it too, where like you can like, I mean, there are those books that randomly they just don't like. You could see it could be 5 years, 10 years before Morbius starts going down again. Like, you don't know that. There is that FOMO thing of like, if this actually pops off, this book might stay hot for the next fucking 5 years and keep going up, and I might have just lost my shot at it, you know, like.
But I do have to.
I don't think that's going to happen with Morbius. I don't think that by any means.
No, well, this is a difference though. Is that's a Silver Age book though, like. Silver Age books, you know, they like hold value. I mean, and if they do drop, it's not as much. You know, people always say what comic should I invest in? It's like if you're dumb enough to invest anything in the comics, do it in Silver Age. You know, because it's obtainable and you know the profit margins a little bit better. Modern, I mean, God, like. It kills me, dude, when people just like, especially for New Comic Book Day, they're just like, "Oh, dude, I got that book," you know, and you know, I had to pay like $20 for it. And it's just like, God damn, like if you and they do that like every week, and it's just like if you would have saved that money, you know, let's say it's like $80, you could buy like a nice Silver Age book.
Yeah,
you know, 5 weeks.
It's insane, but they want that instant gratification. Or, you know, hey, this might be something. Let me just spend the cheddar on it and see what happens. Write it out.
Right.
And you go back to that collection. And, you know, because I've been there. Like, I've had to change the way that I collect 4 different times. And I'm at the point right now where I'm just like, I'm actually really happy on how I do it. And, you know, it takes patience and, you know, discipline and shit like that. But you kind of like really have to tell yourself no a lot of times. You have to act like your wife in your own head.
Yeah.
I agree, man. It's a thing of beauty when you learn how to like prioritize your collecting and really hone in on what you like. And that could still be 6 different things. Like, don't get like I buy Golden Age books and Silver Age books, but my stack every week is still pretty fucking big. But that's just because I'm reading those books mostly as much as I can. And if I'm not reading them, if I have 3 or more books piling up on a series, I'll text my buddy at the shop and I'll be like, hey man, I'm done with this book. I like, if you already ordered the next one for me after that, no more, I'm done. Like, but
Right.
like I was saying to Juan earlier, like Immortal Hulk for me was one of those things, right? All these books popped off. Every single book's selling above cover, or some of them are crazy. And I made the decision because I'm like, well, I paid cover price for all of these because I actually put it in my poll and I want to read it, and it's still in my poll to this day.
Yeah.
But then I made the decision that fuck, I can make like $200 off these books right now, and then go buy something that I really want. And I did that.
Yeah, definitely.
You know
Yeah.
what I mean? And I
Yeah, you might not want that set or that run of Hulk that you have years from now. It's like one might as well get something that you
Right.
would want.
yeah, and it takes discipline because like there's still that animal part of my brain that's like, oh, what if 5 years from now this run is worth even more? And it's like, well, if Immortal Hulk 1 through 20 is worth more than it is now 5 years from now, good fucking job for that dude who bought it from me.
Right.
And that's all I got. Like that's the best I can do.
I mean,
Yeah.
it's hard because you definitely don't want to buy the flavor of the week because that shit changes all the time. Changes all
It
the time.
does. It's tough.
So it's
It's
like
tough.
Rob, like I had to figure out like, all right, what is it that I want to collect? What is it that I like? Love Jack Kirby. So let me focus on what this man has done and collect. I love Fantastic Four, love Mr. Miracle, Demon, like things like that. Like I just hone in on what I really really want, and then I just go after it. I find myself actually saving a lot more money that way. You know
Yeah,
what I
for
mean?
sure.
For things that I actually want, and not just go after whatever is the hot new thing. Because when you go after the
Yeah.
hot new thing, more than likely you're gonna overpay.
Oh,
You
for
know.
sure.
Yeah. Well, I think
Or it
like
spirals
going
out of
back to the whole
control.
yeah, going back to the whole variant thing, I feel like a lot of new collectors go in wanting the new variants and stuff like that because they think it's rarer and stuff like that. And I did that too at some point, and that was just a horrible way to collect. Now looking back, you know what I mean? Just you're buying a cover price book for like that's $4.99, and you're spending $40 on it, and it's just like what the hell? And then you sit on it for like a year, and you look back on it, and you're like, wow, I paid this much for this book. Now to have that reversed, it's amazing. You
Right.
pay you pay $40 for a book, and then you look back and it's worth 100. It's like, damn, I'm
Especially
doing something right.
when you forget you have it and you just look and like,
Oh,
oh
dude, that's the
crap, look what I
best.
found in this
Yeah.
Yeah,
box. You know.
yeah,
Damn, that's crazy.
Yeah, you got to be. And we're talking about how we switch up how we collect. Like I used to have probably 8 or 9 titles in my weekly pull. I think I'm down to like 2.
Same.
I'll
shit.
give it like I'll. There's a lot of series, and obviously it's me, so I'm Wolverine obsessed. So like variants, I got the only. Now I don't have every Virgin or Black and White. We're always saying about Virgin covers, but for like Return of Wolverine, the only 2 I don't have are the McFarlane, and it's because I think it's ugly and I don't want it, and the Mobius one. But I have every other one of every other cover. There's like 37. I have them all because that's what I like. When I go to the store like lately, and I got a whole bunch for Christmas, like I liked Powers of X and House of X. So I just said, you know what? I'll wait till the trade comes out. I'll wait till because I'm getting more into the collected editions. If I like it, okay, cool. I know if I keep hearing good things about it, okay, awesome. You got to stay within your lane too. If we're all talking about how you buy, you got to realize where your price point is. You can't start spending more than you're going to make or more than you have because there's a lot of books that have come out last 2 or 3 years that I think I've been, by you guys have told me or people on Instagram, oh, dude, check this out. It's awesome. Okay, I will when the omnibus comes out or when the collected editions come out because I'd much rather spend $20 on trade with 8 or 9 issues in it or whatever it is than $9 or $10 every week on that issue. And not saying it's not good if that's what you do, but for me, you got to know where you are. For me, with my financial situation, I'd rather buy that in a little while. And if I miss it, I miss it. Like being a Wolverine, it doesn't really matter what character it is. It could be Doctor Doom for Juan. It could be, Mickey Air Pirates for Rob. My character, and that's kind of my universe. I would love to, like, if I go to a store and I was to, like, flipping through a box and I found an ASM 300 that was in pretty good shape for like $50. Yeah, I'll grab it because it's a cool book to have in the collection. But it's not a book where I'm like, oh, I need a high grade ASM 300 so I can flip it in 2 years. It's like, no, that's not my world. I'll stick in my world, and if something happens to come along within my circle that I can afford, and I know it's either a book I'd really like to have, or it's something I know that down the line I could trade or sell for something else I want. Yeah. But I find I go to my store all the time, and the guy's like, oh yeah, I'm saving up for this book. I'm just like, that book is going to be worthless in a year. Go, and like you're saying, go get a Silver Age X-Men book, or
for sure.
early Silver Age X-Men book. Go get early Silver Age Batman, even Superman. Like get stuff. If you're gonna flip and gonna invest, you gotta spend the money. You gotta get the good stuff. Don't get the shit. Nobody cares. The problem with moderns and with my collection, and this is just my own thoughts. I have a cool collection. I have a lot of Wolverine stuff, but most of my collection is modern. So a lot of my stuff isn't worthless, but it's not worthless probably as much as Rob or Mike's or Juan's, because they focused a lot more. You guys focused a lot more on Golden and Silver Age. That's where I'm now. Like this year, I think I have like 3 books I want to get. My 3 big books for this year are first appearance of Juggernaut, first appearance of the Sentinels, and I think one of the other early X-Men books.
X-23.
I honestly don't care. See, if I stumble across an NYX number 3 for like $100 to $200 that I can afford, I'll grab it. But that's not in my wheelhouse, so I'll wait. So it's you got to set those parameters for yourself and stay within that. Stay within that, because then you get too crazy trying to get every other thing.
I think it's important to say though, like, yeah, you may have a ton of modern books. So do I. Like I think we all do. But like I love those. I still love the fucking modern variants. Like,
of course,
every time there's like 1,000 variants for some book that is meaningless, I still look through all of them and I'm like, oh, that one's dope. Oh, that one's dope.
Yeah.
Oh, I want that one. Oh, the Del Auto Virgin variant for $250. Oh, I want that. Like, I still want. I mean, I'm not gonna buy them, but I still look at them and appreciate the art. And I don't think there's anything wrong with like the ones that. Like, I mean, there are some that turned out to be a really good investment.
Right.
But, I mean, if they're gorgeous.
I'm so turned off about, like, I'm just so turned off of, like, modern variants. I used to, like, remember back in the day when you could find a R Germ cover and just appreciate it? Now you're finding, like, R Germ covers everywhere. Yeah. It's just saturated.
Every week. Yeah.
Yeah, and I look at J. Scott Campbell, dude. J. Scott Campbell. He's done. I like his older shit. You know what I mean? Like his Gen 13 stuff and Danger Girl.
Gen 23.
And but see, like when you see his newer stuff, yeah, it's cleaner, but it's fucking just, I don't know, man. It's the same thing.
No, I know.
Over.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
saturated.
I was saying it's all starting to look like the same character, just a different head on the body. I don't dig it as much, but like you said, like his older stuff, like his Danger Girl and his Gen 13, those books were great. I think a lot of times artists just draw it and send it out without any real like passion or heart into it. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
they're just trying to meet their deadline.
Yeah.
So I mean, I agree with like J. Scott Campbell and Archer, like absolutely, and like some of the newer ones too, like the dude who was popular for that Batgirl cover, Middleton, yes, Middleton. Like him, the same thing. It's Batgirl, pretty much just her head and like her bust and above, and doing something, like it's all the same. But then there's also like Alex Ross, and every Alex Ross cover that comes out, every time I look at it, I'm like, oh, that's Alex Ross. And I'm most of the time I'm like, oh, that's fucking gorgeous. And I like,
but it's not worth anything, right? Like,
no, I'm not talking about value. I'm not. Listen,
no, I'm not either. But what I'm saying is like, people don't.
Oh, the Alex Ross
is not worth anything. Yeah,
right.
Alex Ross is amazing,
you can,
dude.
Yeah, right. You can still get that for
people leave this shit.
You get out. Yeah. He was doing when the new Spider-Man was when the second new slot Spider-Man was relaunched as a $1, whatever it was, 5 years ago, whatever. For the first like 25 covers, all the A covers, the $4 covers were all Alex Ross covers, and like
Wow.
I was just like, this is crazy. Like they were not variants. There was also the Virgin 1 in 25s and all that other shit. But like the one in my pull box was just like a fucking Alex Ross cover, painted cover, gorgeous. It was absolutely
Yeah.
gorgeous. And yeah, I mean, I still love modern comic book, especially the covers. You know, I just like Chad said he's going to start doing, and like we've all started doing. I just look at it and move on and save my money and buy something that I know in the long run is going to be
Yeah,
hopefully
you know,
more fruitful.
it's crazy. Because I didn't know that Middleton Batgirl was so expensive.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
one of the comic shops I go to, they got a copy from a collection, and they put it up, and I was like, you know, I was just kind of looking at it, and some dude came by. He's just telling the guy, "Hey, can I look at that book?" Because it was like up where you can't reach it, and the guy said, "Oh yeah, you know." And the guy goes, "How much is it?" He goes, $60. And I was like, "What?" I remember when that book came out.
Yeah.
Like, I can't. I don't even understand why it's that much when, you know,
Well,
I think
why
he's
is
done
Detective
better.
880 so expensive?
Why? Dude,
I don't know.
I found a copy in a dollar bin. I got rid of it quick, dude. I don't.
Oh,
Yeah,
I
no,
know.
fuck that book, dude.
It's so
I don't care.
gorgeous,
Like,
though. It's such a
I
great
don't care
cover.
about that book though. Like, you know,
Oh, I know, I know,
somebody
I
else,
know, I know, I know.
somebody else can appreciate it more than I
Yeah.
would. You know,
No, I
so
know, I know, I know.
but you know, a lot of people love that cover. It's okay, you know,
Right.
but like
Yeah.
the crazy thing about that book is it's been out for so long, and
Mm.
you know, it wasn't always that expensive.
Nope.
No.
Now it's like fucking, I don't know.
Stupid.
It's a modern day grail.
It
Yeah.
is. Yeah.
Yeah. We should do a show on like the top 10 modern grails in like the last 15 years. But yeah, people, you like what you like, and then it's fine to like I love modern. Some of the artists that are out now are amazing.
Hmm.
You just can't get caught up in spending the money for it because it's not usually going to be worth it. Like those art germ covers, they're not going to be worth much eventually. They're everywhere. But they're beautiful.
Did you see what Calvin
I
Strain said?
am.
He said he found a 880 for $1. You know
Yeah.
why? Because that fucker's a digger. That's why.
Yeah.
That's what you gotta
Yeah.
do, man. You
Yeah.
gotta dig. You gotta dig. I go to the
Yeah,
flea
you got to
markets out
dig,
here,
man.
man, and you find stuff. Now, this is my only issue with the flea market. Um, when you go to a flea market, right, you expect a deal. You expect real low prices. You expect fucking be able to buy things for cheap. This one guy had like two boxes that says key issues. So I'm digging through it, and he has a Booster Girl #1, which is I'm looking for. I want to buy one. Now you would think in the condition it's in, which wasn't very good, he'd give me a good deal. Dude was like $60. I'm like, for this?
Nah, hell
It's
no,
not even in
dude.
a new back and board. Like my guy, he's like, "Oh, it's a
Hell
key
no.
issue." I'm like, "That's not how it works. This is a flea market, dog." I told him like, "You might not be able to sell these books, but I'll take these dollar books out of here." And I bought a couple from him, whatever. But I just don't understand why people treat the flea market like a Comic Con. It's not.
No.
So stop. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like
right?
it
Yeah.
drives me nuts. It drives me like I hate telling people how to price their books because that's not for me. But like know your market, know who
Yeah.
you're
Yeah,
selling to.
for sure.
You're at a swap meet, bro.
Wait, hold on. Did they just sell comic books there, or
Just,
was it other shit?
comics and pops.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, he should know his market then, dude. There's no excuse for that. I could understand
Yeah,
if they had like barbecues and fucking like cookware and shit and a box of comics, and then they had it priced outrageously. Obviously, they don't know what the fuck they're doing, so
Or they do,
I
and they're
get
just kind
that.
of
But
eyeballing it.
when that's your shit that you sell, you need to know your product, and
yeah. And
$60 ain't gonna
I
cut
was
it.
looking at these books. I'm like, man, some nice stuff here. But like, if you want to sell your books, like I told him, like you should rebag and board these because it looks like trash. Like it doesn't look
Presentation
good.
is a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm
for
like, I guess
sure.
the flea market, bro. But and then it's funny because on the back, he's like, oh, the price is on the back. The book was $30. He crossed it out and then put it for 60. And I'm like,
Oh
why?
my, he's all, it went up. Nice score.
I was like, he's like, it's gonna be on TV. I'm like, is it on TV now?
Do you
I'm
know
like, who's Booster Girl?
what
Tell
type
me
of
about him.
character? Yeah, do you know what type of character he is? You know,
Hey,
like
shout out to Discovery Bay Comics, man. They shouted us out today. Said some really
That's
kind
good,
words.
oh
right?
yeah,
Shout out to you
I was
guys.
No, and you see all the time. I see like on Facebook, I see these sales sites, and I forget what series it was. I have them. It was like a random Marvel series, and it's like, oh, $15 an issue. I was like, bro, I can go get that entire series for $5. Like no one in, like I do when you see their in their sales pitch, oh, reduced, and ready to go. It's like, dude, you've had this book, and I'll do this to eBay too. I'll message people, like, look, I've been following this book for like a year and a half. You're not going to get your money, but I'll pay this. I'll pay a fair market value for that book. And sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. But people, just because
nah,
something's
dude.
old doesn't mean it's good.
Yeah, you gotta know.
Yeah,
You gotta know
people.
who you can haggle with, man, for sure. Because
Yeah.
Well, there's dealers that'll sit on shit just for $2 extra, man. It's like,
Yeah.
what the fuck?
Mhm.
You know, get rid of
Stupid.
that shit, dude. Get rid of your inventory, get some new stuff. You
Yep.
know,
There was this guy. Give me one quick second. I want to find because it's a funny story about this book. It's just Bill Sienkiewicz.
is it Canadian funny?
What's that?
No,
Sienkiewicz?
go ahead.
Okay. So this was a really cool. It's a modern book, but it's a really very simple, cool cover. It's for an Old Man Logan number 23. Okay. Just a cool little cover, like very simple, nothing crazy going on. I don't know if you guys can see that. Okay. I bought this and I got it cracked because it came cracked. It was a 98. It had a little crack on the side of the slab, so the book's fine. I saw this dealer in Toronto for 3 years. Have this book. It went 70.
Wait, let me ask you a question. Hold on. Let me stop you right there. That book was slabbed as a 9.8 and you took it out of the slab?
I didn't take it out. It came and it got cracked. The slab, I knew beforehand the slab was cracked, but it was cracked along the side. So the book's in mint condition. So I'm trying to see if I can send it off to get him to sign it and then get it slabbed, just because I'm a big fan of his. But
Okay.
raw, you go on eBay, this book's like maybe $35-$40. But I saw this one dealer for like 3 years in a row, 2 or 3 cons every year, 70, 75, 80. I saw him last year at Niagara, had 85. I'm like, bro, you've had this book for years now. Like, I don't know if 3, but it was a bunch of cons, like 2 or 3, whatever it was. I was like, dude, I'll give you $50 right now. That's above eBay pricing. No. It's good. Sure enough, right before Christmas, I saw him at a show. Still had it. It's like, no one's buying your book. Sell it. Get it out of your system so you can use that money for other stuff.
But there's vendors that are like that though. I don't understand that. Like, you're there to sell books. You're there to sell books, but you're not selling books.
Yeah.
Because you're not getting the price that you want. It's
that's
crazy.
But you know what happened is he probably bought it for 60. He probably bought it at top market value at the time. So now instead of just offloading it and making a little bit of profit, he wants to sell it, make his money back, and get his additional 30% on it.
Good luck.
Yeah, well, exactly, and that's the thing. Like, people, modern books, it's not going to happen.
You'll be lucky if you break even sometimes on modern shit, dude. Yeah. Like, you'll be lucky.
Yeah,
you know,
absolutely.
Even if you take like a small hit, it's almost a blessing sometimes.
It is, yeah. If I can make, absolutely. If you can make fucking 75% back on modern books, right? Like, that's great. If you buy a $4 book and you can turn it around for $3 a couple, like a year later or something, or a few months later, that's great, dude.
That's another thing I don't understand is when people go out for a new comic book day and they all buy like 3 copies of something.
Yeah.
Right.
And it's just like, they're the same issue. Like,
remember when Carnage came out? Free Comic Day?
Yeah. Oh, dude, that was crazy. That was fun, though. That was a fun ride because, I mean, Donny Cates just fucking laid the hammer down on that shit, dude. He fucking debunked everything. That was fucking great.
Use that money for crack. Yeah, I see some people, and I don't try not to judge. I see some people, even in our club, they'll post, and they got like 4 different issues, but they got 19 versions because they got 4 of one cover, 4 of another cover. And I was like,
yeah, right.
Okay, like, it's your money. Do what you want. I don't get it because I'm like, that's 16 other books you could have bought, or that money from that could have went towards something else that you liked. So why you see people like, I've 7 copies of Art Germ Fantastic Four 1 Susan Storm cover. Okay, cool. Like, you're gonna make a wall of all one cover but that's them. They do what they want. But it's those same people who go, well, why aren't you selling? I can't get rid of these. Well, it's because you bought 7 of them, like everybody else.
Yeah.
Modern
Sure.
books are all in the market, unless you get a retailer variant, and we're talking like 1 in 50 up is the ones you can make money on. That's it. No one's spending hundreds of dollars on a 1 in 10 because everybody got.
That'd be nuts.
Not
That would be
me.
nuts.
Yeah.
Well, winding down, I figured.
Well, I think that
Good.
go for it.
No, I'm saying as we're winding down, I was curious to
Wow.
see what books are you guys looking forward to in 2020. Oops, in 2020.
I got a few. I think the most. I mean, uh, Tom King's been probably someone that I've been most excited about in the past, and now like it's crazy to think that Batman's over and like he's really got nothing out right now. And then Strange Adventures is coming out soon,
Mm-hmm.
so a little Adam Strange and some space fucking craziness and
It's been a
supposedly
minute
this
since
is
he's been in
all.
comics, eh?
What's that? Yeah,
It's been a minute since he's had a new series. So.
since like New 52, like before
Yep.
like the beginning of New 52.
Yeah.
And it wasn't a solo series. He was just in a Booster Gold comic book. But that's definitely anything Tom King coming out is something I'm looking forward to. Yeah, I don't know.
Okay, Chad.
Well, you know me, Wolverine guy. So Wolverine comes back in February, but I'm most excited because the artist Benjamin Percy, or the writer Benjamin Percy's a really good writer. He's writing X-Force right now. He wrote the 2 Wolverine podcasts that are really good, and one of my all-time favorite artists across every character, Adam Kubert, is going to be doing the pencils. How long he's on the book for? Because Marvel has a tendency, especially in the last couple of years, to announce these superstar teams and then give them a few issues, and then they move them around. But he's going to be doing the issues for at least 3 or 4 confirmed so far. So there's that, and I think I'm really looking forward to Jason Fabik's The 3 Jokers. That's looking pretty cool.
Yeah.
Other than that, I don't. There's a few omnibuses I'm looking forward to that are coming out next year, but as far as new books, not just a couple for me. Nothing crazy because again, like we talked about before, that's my financial wheelhouse. Just a couple new ones, and then we'll see what else happens.
Sweet, Rob. What books are you looking forward to, Rob?
I mean, I'm a digger, bro. I do have a pull list. It's for all the Black Label shit. So
Oh, wow.
I that's just I just love the artwork and stuff and the different stories that they have. It gets kind of pricey, but I was looking at the future list of that. The only I have everything except for Batman Damned Jim Lee variant. That's the only one I'm missing. But other than that, I'm right on track on having everything Black Label. Yeah, so that's pretty much
Which
like
one's the Jim Lee
only modern
variant? The
stuff I
first
get.
one.
Yeah, number 1. Yeah.
Number 1.
And so yeah, I'm just excited, to see kind of like what's out there as far as digging goes. I don't know if you guys know, but one of the places that I frequent, Frankincense, they actually moved to a new location. Were you guys aware of that?
No.
I know you guys have heard of it, right?
I heard it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So they moved locations, and Saturday was the first time I ever went there. And man, let me tell you, this it's going to be rough. It's going to be a rough ride for some of these vendors, man.
Wow.
I saw a lot of people walking around with nothing in their hands.
Really?
So hopefully by the time you guys make it down here to visit Frankincense, it's still comic book heavy.
Why did they move? Leases up or?
Because I think it's a bit. There's like a air conditioning now, which in the summertime that place really sucked. Like it would deter people from going because it was like a sauna, and I've seen people damn near pass out in there. Like it is a horrible environment.
That's crazy.
But so they took over. I believe it's a. I don't know if it was a old Costco or Sam's Club or some shit like that. So it's like a big ass warehouse.
Yeah,
Um,
that's dope.
but the layout and everything, it's a little bit different, and yeah, it looks like you're going to like a small convention every time it's open now, and
That's sick.
yeah, we'll see, man. It's got a long ways to go. I know there's more like a couple more comic book vendors, but I don't think that the comic book vendors are striving like the other, like they have Magic there and they have baseball card. I didn't get to go through the whole thing because I didn't have much time, but it's definitely different, man.
Damn.
So
All right. I guess what I'm looking forward to
sorry,
is
sorry you
much like
guys didn't see the old location. Anyways, go
yeah.
ahead.
I watch a ton of YouTube videos on it too, so I kind of understand what you're talking about, like about the area and the
Yeah,
space or whatever. But for me,
yeah.
much like Mike, looking forward to Strange Adventures. Also, Taskmaster's getting his own series in April, so looking forward to that, and more X-Men because I love the Hickman's run on both of those books. So, what I
Nice.
definitely want more of that.
Dawn of X is the new one coming out, isn't it soon?
Soon, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So
There's an
looking forward to
X-Men
that.
Fantastic Four number coming out too.
Mm-hmm.
A little crossover
37
dealy.
variants.
So we'll see what happens, but that's it for this week. You guys have any upcoming stuff you guys are doing?
Couple weeks, there's a big
I'm-
a bunch of the Canadians are going to get together. A store a lot of us go to is having their 8th year anniversary sale, which
Nice.
is usually pretty good deals that day. So I think there's like 6 or 7 of us getting together that day. So that'll be fun.
Cool. Mike, anything happening?
Yeah, I'll be working for the next 3 months. So, but I'll be here. I'll be here every Tuesday night. So I'm happy that we're doing this again.
Me too.
But outside of that, yeah, yeah.
Roy James.
What about
See-
you, Rob? You
see
got
you
anything
then.
going on?
Well, we got
Over in the West.
WonderCon coming up in April,
Nice.
and Aaron's wedding. So yeah, we got to get ready for all that.
Got a lot of exciting stuff happening.
But yeah, that's pretty much the next convention. We just had Long Beach not too long ago, and I was kind of bummed that I missed out on it. But it's such a small convention that I'm just like, whatever, dude.
Yeah, for sure.
You know,
C2E2
it's a
is
small
coming
area.
too. C2E2 is coming. In March, we'll be doing a live show at the Super Jersey Comic Book Expo in Howell, New Jersey. And then the next month, I think it's going to be East Coast Comic Con. Are you going this year, Mike?
Yeah. It's in April, right?
I think it's April or May.
Yeah.
I might have a connect on VIP tickets though, so I'll let you know.
I mean, that's it. That one's easy enough for me because that's a day drive if I need it to be. So
Sweet.
yeah, probably.
All right. So keep an eye on the page too. We're gonna have some free tickets for the Super Jersey Comic Book Expo to give away. And that's it, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. We'll check you out next week. At the
How
same
about you
time.
throw in your YouTube video page or whatever that you just jump started again?
Ink Jedi on YouTube. Go check that out, and remember
It's
to
good
subscribe
stuff,
to
man.
our channel as well. Again, because we always post some pretty cool shit. With that said, thank you guys. Thank you guys for joining me tonight, and thanks everyone who tuned in and paid attention and participated in the chat. It's always appreciated. We'll see you next week, y'all. Peace.
Bye.
Later.
And